New Hampshire GEG. So we have our October Hangout for our New Hampshire GEG online, and we're using YouTube Live, second time, and Hampshire GEG. So that's been our October Hangout. And there's something I need to fix right there. Okay, so one thing is when you do a YouTube live stream, it's really good, I found out, and my co-leader Craig explained to me, it's really good to have two consoles going, so that's what you heard, and I apologize for that. Because one, I can see if any of you are chatting or putting any messages on the screen, I can see them and watch and answer and bring up those questions to the group. So even if you're just watching along, I can see those questions that chat and I can bring those into the group. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our panel that we have today. One you already know very well, Craig Scheel, my co-GEG leader there.
Hi, everyone.
Craig coming in from Bedford, and today we have two special guests besides just Craig and I. We have Eric Lawson. There's Eric. Eric is the Director of Technology and Libraries in the York School Department. And we have Nick Shumann, and Nick is the Digital Citizenship Teacher Tech Coach for the York Middle School. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm very excited they're here today because not only have I seen them both present, and like Eric has done a keynote session, I've seen them present apps events and Google Apps, and I've heard so many wonderful things they're doing. I'm also a little partial to the school district they're in because my children go there and I'm very pleased with it. So there's that little thing, but also there's an additional piece that I now work with one of their past colleagues, Jason Saltmarsh, here at Winnicott. So I've been hearing wonderful things about them from all sides. So I'm very, very excited about having them here today and having them share some of the things that they've been working with, updates, and so forth. So let's see, Eric, do you want to start, or do you want Nick? Do you want to start?
Doesn't matter to me. Nick, what do you think?
You can start.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, Nick, take it away.
Oh, I'm taking it away. Oh.
Didn't we just decide?
I said Eric could start. So.
Oh.
No fighting, gentlemen. No fighting.
Doesn't matter, does it? Go for it, Nick.
So, this is my year teaching digital, and I decided to use Google Classroom as the way to interact both with my material and for them to interact back and to build that online communication even if we weren't in the classroom. And since then, I found to be a wonderful tool, especially because we're one-to-one Chromebooks in grades 5 and 6, to facilitate that communication and to be an almost paperless class. And now that we're in my second year and we've decided that all teachers need to be working in classroom, it's become that much more important to understand how classroom works. Students keep and students more room to be creative and to communicate is
Hey, Nick, what do you know about the Lego tables with wheels on them or something like that?
not a meeting right now, so. It's okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Don't worry about it.
I was thinking, wait, is it me? Oh, no, okay, it's not me this time. All right.
So on our side, a different group of kids that I see each quarter. My classes rotate quarter, so create a new class, set of classes 4 times a year. So that's when I'm learning the importance of naming schemes was really big, and making sure that whenever you create a class and classroom, that somewhere each name needs to be unique. Because when you create a class, you're not just using classrooms, you're also tying in calendar app. You're also tying in Google Drive, because everything that you post in Classroom has to live somewhere, and that somewhere is Google Drive. So working with teachers and seeing what they have been experiencing, and also asking students to see on their end, we came up with the naming scheme of the name of the class should be very clear for students to see and to pick out. There's a place for section, something in there to make the class unique. So we decided it would be, I use the school year, which quarter it is, which grade I'm doing, because I do 5th grade and 6th grade, and then I usually put the class's name, because that all that information is unique. It will never be used in exactly that same way again. Of course, now they just added this, right before the school year started, they added another section called where you can put your subject. And they have some pre-suggested stuff, or you can make your own. Naming schemes are really important. We learned that the hard way last year with a teacher who had the same class, and students were using iPads to connect to that classroom, and half the kids could not actually get to the class there and spun, and the only thing we could do to correct it was to rename the class and make it unique.
Hey Nick, if you don't mind me asking, we actually don't see your screen. Are you meant to be showing your screen right now?
I thought I was. Let me.
Okay. And it also seems a little choppy, so I was just trying to determine if in fact you were trying to show your screen or whatnot. So before we progress any more.
My laptop is deciding to be a little sluggish right now.
Well, that's okay.
So I can't even get the Hangout screen up to share my screen.
Well, maybe what we could do is maybe we can switch. Maybe we'll have Eric.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
All right, and then I don't know, maybe if you're able to like hardwire, that also might help. I don't know if you're doing this wirelessly, but that also might help. Maybe we could do some troubleshooting in between while Eric presents, if you're okay with that.
It's fine by me.
Okay.
All right. All right, Nick, you want to take a couple minutes to figure that out then? All right. Let me do a screen share then of something that we've been doing a lot of in New York. Let me make sure you can see this. So I'm right now looking at a virtual field trips guide that I have in Google Docs. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So what I've done, and we can certainly share this out as well. I'll share it in the notes, and it's in the document for this show as well. One of the things that York's really proud of and wanting to try and promote a little bit of is these virtual interactive field trips. And last year it kind of started when the Pioneer program from Google Expeditions came and visited 3 out of our 4 schools. And it's one of those great programs that we have. And we bought wholeheartedly into it because after 3 days of testing it out at both elementary, middle, and high school, everybody wanted a kit. And we were able to move some kind of funds around a little bit and also get a mini grant to get a Google Expeditions kit for our district. We did end up going with the Best Buy kit for $20, so it's just around a full class set for us. But it's kind of great because you do get to take your kids anywhere you want, obviously at a lower cost than taking them physically there. So if I unshare my screen here for a second, I can show
Eric,
you.
can I ask you a quick question? How much does that kit cost for people who are interested? And they are kind of pricey, right?
They are very pricey. I think Best Buy's for the 20 is $7 grand right now, and that includes the 20 Asus smartphones that go in the devices. It's the 20 ViewMaster red goggles, the teacher tablet, its own router, and then that gigantic Pelican case that you can shoot a bullet at it basically, and it's going to protect everything you've got. Yeah, obviously not the cheapest way to go. I mean, certainly you can ask companies to send you a couple of the actual cardboards for a lot cheaper. What we tried to do though was we tried to get some parents to donate old phones, and we realized that the iOS had to be 8.0 or higher for the Expeditions app to run, and with Android, I believe it has to be KitKat or higher on the operating system in order to work, and we were just getting ridiculously old phones, and it wasn't working real well. I know that there are some people trying to figure out how to buy $10 track phones and disable the phone portion of it and go that route for real cheap. Obviously, at our high school, it's not a big deal. They all have phones in their pockets, and we let them use that. But at the elementary schools where hopefully the kids aren't walking around with phones yet, that was where the big cost, of course, comes in with any of these kits. But yeah, let me just show you real quick. So with Expeditions, for those of you not familiar, Expeditions is a free app from Google, and I'll show you a little bit. I don't know how well it's going to look on the screen. But for right now, we're looking at the Great Wall of China, because that's one of the 300 expeditions I chose just to kind of demo. The teacher iPad gets to see everything that you would on a computer. You can scroll across and see everything that's there. The beauty of Expeditions, though, is it comes preloaded. I don't know if you can see on this bottom right-hand side.
Yep.
It's got preloaded lesson plans. It's got questions to ask the kids. It's got points of interest. So I certainly have never been to the Great Wall myself, and this doesn't replace it. I'm not trying to say that, but I don't even have to be a master teacher on the Great Wall of China. I can take my kids on this tour and quickly talk about some of the things Google's already put in there. And a lot of these expeditions keep getting uploaded by teachers that are vetting new expeditions. And then with this one, I can just flip across, and there's different scenes, so that if I were to then play this, you would see the screen blacken out a little bit, and then a new scene from the Great Wall comes in. And they're filming these all over the world with 360 Theta cameras, and the Google Jump is what they're calling that. It looks like 16 GoPros on like a carousel that people have on their helmets, and they're putting them on quadcopters and all kinds of fun stuff. And if I switch views basically to the student view, we have this ViewMaster with the phone in it, and you can see it's got the stereoscopic view. I just clicked on that cardboard app. And then, of course, when you close it up, which wouldn't work real well here, but in real life, it's amazing. I mean, you really can see, you feel like you're there. The one thing that we did learn about Google Expeditions, let me reshare screen here, is that it is just obviously a still picture. And that's one of the things that we were looking at. Okay, now that we've absorbed some of these cool expeditions with our students, how do we start to create some of these? And I had learned at a Google Summit up in Montreal that with Google Street View, the app, you can do that with your own phone. You add to content, you create a picture, and it literally has orange dots all over this place, and you keep clicking still shots all around you. And that'll give you the option to publish a picture that's 360. You could publish it to Street View, you could publish it to Story Spheres, which isn't Google related, or 360 cities. And what it does is it patches all of those still photos you put together and kind of stitches it together so that it makes it one dome. Now, of course, if anybody moves, sort of like we've seen in some of the expeditions as well, you get somebody's legs in one case, midsection another, and their hair in a third place. So we did go out and we invested in a Theta 360-degree camera, which ran about 3 1/4. And we have some film study students working on that right now. They're going to start to put together some pictures that we can then put into with the goggles to look in 360, but also they're going to start to develop some 360 film, which I'm really excited about.
Eric, do you need that particular what are you calling it again? The Theta?
The Theta 360. Yeah. If I do a quick.
So you can't do this with your own. I guess my point is a student can't just go out with their own iPhone to do this. Is correct, or can they do it with an Android?
No, yeah, you absolutely can, and that's with that Google Street View app. One of the things that you can do is add content, and you can stitch it together. So quite literally, it might take you 36 pictures to create a dome shot. And obviously, in that time, if anything's moving, it's going to look a little distorted. You know, around the coast, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to take pictures of the ocean in that fashion because it's going to be all over the map and not look correct. But with the Theta 360, you can take the picture and it's instantaneous 360 dome shot, and that's kind of why we went with that. But it's certainly something you can do already on your smartphone and test it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and can you see that 360 that I just Googled?
Yeah.
Literally fits in your pocket, and you click a button, and there's also a free app that you can connect it to your phone, so you could leave it in a room, get out of the room, and take a picture. In fact, those of you who've played Breakout EDU, one of our ideas was to create a virtual room that the kids will then have to break out of. So they break into the Google cases, they all put on the Google goggles, and then they have to figure out how to break out of the virtual room based on the picture that a kid took.
Oh, that is very clever. I like that.
Yeah,
very clever.
A little mixed media. Yeah. We're really trying to experiment a little bit and push the kids' limits in the maker spaces for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. But along those lines too, I mean, Google Maps itself has gotten so big recently that, you know, if you haven't gone to Google Maps other than to figure out how to get to your resort destination or the next conference you're presenting at, I mean, there's so many more options than there used to be. We're using My Maps all the time so that kids are creating their own virtual field trips. We did one right at the beginning with my summer vacations. If you go into Google Maps Gallery, you can see things like the Lewis and Clark expedition and go through all of the different things that are going on. Google Treks was a 20% time project that's going off the road. Obviously, we know we can use Google Maps or Google Earth to jump down to Street View, but Google Treks takes you off that road. And in this case, they even have model towns that they're touring you through as well. And the one thing that, you know, we couldn't get a hold of when we were geocaching and using GPS back in the day was the indoor portion. And now Google Indoor Maps also lets you map the inside of your areas so that you can do like digital scavenger hunts and things of that nature if you map out the inside of your building and then tell kids to go around on them. And that's a fun activity, especially here at the middle school, that we want to try for next year, where fourth graders coming up to fifth grade for the first time get to try that out. I don't know if you've seen recently, but with the anniversary of the national parks, the Hidden Worlds of the national parks just came out in Google Arts and Culture. Let me click on that real quick. Hopefully the sound doesn't bog out on this. So currently there are just these 5 options, but if I jump into one, for instance.
1,000 miles north of the continental United States lies a land where the Ice Age still lingers. Come join Park Ranger Fiona North.
All right, I skipped that section only because you can go take a look at it
down.
on your own.
You're standing above a crevasse.
But
on
the beauty of
Glacier.
these in the Arts
Exit
and Culture,
Glacier is one of the most visited parts of the park, but very few people get to come up here
is
and
I
walk
am
out
literally
onto the
clicking
ice,
and dragging.
or
I hope it's
venture
not
into
lagging
one of
too
its
much on
crevasses.
the Hangout.
Climb down and join me.
But no matter where I click and drag, I can look all over the map, even though they're trying to direct me in a certain area. So as I go through these national parks, now I can climb down into the crevasse with her. Hopefully it's not too delayed. There she is, getting away at it.
You actually don't need a Google Cardboard for this, correct?
You don't need it for this. This one will be in Google Cardboard very shortly from what I hear, but for right now, right, a Chromebook or a laptop or a tablet would work just fine. And the reason I showed this one is you can actually see this this helmet here where the guy, or the lady, I don't know, is climbing down through the crevasse, and that's what she's got one of those Google jumps on that is just filming this. So, I mean, those are incredible field trips where not only are you seeing it almost like a documentary, but you're able to change the point of view of what you're looking at. And you could turn several kids onto the same exploration, or in this case, the same national park expedition, and they're all going to see it from a slightly different angle. And what's fun is to pull them all back at the end and have them reflect on certain things and find out what they learned the most from these tours. And then one of the things that we aren't able to replicate yet on the Chromebook, because you do need Google Earth, but we are able to do it on our Mac Airs in our 7th and 8th grade because we are a one-to-one deployment state up here in Maine. Every kid gets a Mac Air in 7th and 8th grade, is Tour Builder, which literally takes Google Earth, and you can create virtual tours by pinning things, adding images, adding video, adding sound, and then basically you dump that tour out in a KML file, share it with somebody, and then anybody who has Google Earth could take your tour by flying in and out, and it includes Street View and all of that kind of thing. And I was able to jump on a call, or Hangout rather, with the creator of Google Littrips, Jerome Berg, who is one of the original Google innovators back when it was Google Teacher Academy. This was his moonshot idea. He basically wanted to do the same thing as Tour Builder, being able to create these virtual field trips using Google Earth with images and photos, but everything is tied to literature. So teachers are literally taking works of art. Of course, if it's in the real world, it'd be tough to pull off something that's not. But you could go to the movie sites, for instance, of the different Harry Potter films, and it would zoom you into the city streets of London, and you get to see Millennium Bridge and all of that fun stuff, which is kind of neat. And again, those both the kids can create with right away after they've read a book or they've gone on a specific adventure or they're touring something in world languages, which is fantastic. And I don't know if you've seen these. The one thing that kind of drives me crazy is all of these adventures, expeditions, Google Presents, journeys, whatever they want to call them, they're all kind of all over the map. And that's why I created this guide, because a lot of teachers are saying, I'd love to go that, but I can't remember what the site was. These newer ones called Google Presents. There's one for Inside Abbey Road, and then there's another one for Google Nightwalk, where an artist takes you through the streets of Marseille, France, to showcase all the different pieces of art. So I'll just jump into Inside Abbey Road for a second, because it's a nice blend of VR and AR as well. So hopefully this doesn't bog down.
Welcome to Abbey Road, home to the world-famous studio. For the first time ever, discover what goes on beyond these doors. Google presents Inside Abbey Road.
So the beauty of something like this is that you've got video. You've also got a little bit of some augmented reality posted on top of the black and white films. And of course, if you were to do this on a mobile device, you can click down here on the right where the cardboard icon is and step inside using your goggles, which would immerse you even more. But let's step inside for just a second so you can kind of see the difference of this type of journey.
Welcome to Abbey Road Studios. This is Studio One, where some of the most famous film scores of all time have been recorded, including Star Wars and Harry Potter, where the Beatles first sung All You Need Is Love to the world, and where Kanye West recorded late orchestration.
So what I love about these presents is this, to me, feels like where Google Expeditions and the Google Cultural Institute's finally going to go. I mean, you've got your map on the left, so you can see the entire spread of where you're going to be looking, the different floors. You've also got these sort of pop-outs, so if you want to take a look at this, here's a video, here's some more information. You can take a tour and listen to the producer talk about recording here at Abbey Road. Just like Street View, you can advance as you click and move down through the actual space and see different pop-outs. So it's a nice blend of a virtual tour where you're literally immersed in it, but then you can also have augmented reality type of, so you could listen to the Phantom Menace score here with John Williams taking it on with the orchestra. And you just, to me, this is where I think Expeditions is going to go, so that you can say, all right, kids, we're heading to the Louvre this week, and I'm going to turn you loose in one of the wings. They're going to put on their cardboard. They're going to put on their earbuds, just like we would have, except for the cardboard, of course, but just like we would in a museum, and have sort of a self-guided tour and have video and augmented reality on top of it as well, which is fantastic. So those are two I highly recommend checking out. And again, you don't need cardboard for it. It certainly makes it a little bit better because you certainly feel like you're more there than just on the laptop. But the Cultural Institute's growing and growing every single day. You can check that out for, they're doing inside different museums and landmarks all around the world. They've added the historical events, so it's a nice blend of black and white stills, especially if it's before camera days and things of that nature. There's paintings, but then they take you to the actual sites as well, so you can overlay that. You can go to 10 Downing Street and see the Prime Minister's area. There's the Google Natural History Museum, where they have put you inside the museum with dinosaurs, and you can see how they interact with one another, and it has sort of that CGI feel. And then I'll jump away from Google just for a second because I talked about it earlier. The big thing for us in New York is these are great expeditions, these are great journeys, and we love kind of absorbing all of this stuff, but just like our library is transforming to a learning commons, we want to also be able to create these types of things. And it's certainly true, you can create an expedition, you have to kind of propose it to Google, and they have to vet it and push it up there, so it's possible. But how do you do it in a more quick fashion, sort of like the idea of breaking out of a digital breakout room? Well, with Story Spheres, you can upload any 360 photo you take. And again, you can do it on any smartphone if you piece it together, or the Theta does it in one quick click. But with Story Spheres, sort of like ThingLink, and I believe ThingLink does this now too with 360 photos. You can pop anything in there, and just like you saw in that Google Presents Abbey Road, you can pin different things within your picture to then launch a picture, launch some audio tracks, or launch a video. So kids are able to create sort of these 360 stories of their own and add certain elements to it, which is fantastic. And then I have some other resources here too. I don't want to take up too much time here. I know you have some other things you wanted to cover in the session. But there's some fantastic things. In fact, Google's always laughing. This looks more like a joke than it's real, but there really is Google Sheep View. So on certain remote islands, They are sticking 360 cameras on sheep and letting them run wild. And there's a video in here that is absolutely fantastic because, of course, trying to keep the sheep on designated roads and paths is not the easiest thing in the world. So they're quite literally mapping the entire island as they go. And it's just fantastic what they're trying to do. I mean, you know, they're throwing these 360 cameras on just about everything so that we'll have a picture and a story to tell anywhere you are in the world, which is just awesome.
Eric, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
In terms of the Google Presents, I just did a quick search. Is there an actual website, or are there only like 2 of those right now for Google Presents? Like, how did you find out about Google Presents?
Right. I just happened to be listening to a speaker, and they threw a couple out there, and there were the 2 links. And that's what kind of drives me a little crazy is those are fantastic, and it's not the easiest thing to find unless you knew about them. And I'm going to guess it was one of those 20% time projects, and eventually it'll all be pulled together in the Google Cultural Institute.
Because I agree with you. I like the fact that there's a map on the on the side, and you're able to move. I like the visual of that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you go to that one that I didn't show you too, the street view of Marseille, you really feel like you're there. It's almost creepy because it's, at night in the middle of a city you've never been to, and this artist is talking in the back of your ear. So it's amazing how it can transform you that quickly.
Yeah. And my last question, the story spheres, does that work on iPhone and Android? Is it a preferred one on the other?
I haven't seen an issue, or I haven't seen any pros or cons one device over another. We've used them on both Androids and iPhones and seen pretty good success with the few that we've tried so far.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. Okay, that was awesome. I have I'm looking at the sheep right now. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? You have to, right?
I couldn't help myself. I'm like, really? Okay. I'm sorry, Nick. Are you ready, or do you want me to jump in? You still need some more time, or?
No, I'm back. I had to restart. It totally tanked on me, so I'm refreshed and ready to go. Woohoo!
Can you see the screen sharing on your screen this time? Is the icon?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Yay, we can see it. All right.
All right.
I had a feeling. And then you click here, and I'm like, I think he's screen sharing. Awesome. Go ahead.
So, before I was so technologically interrupted, if you look at the class name, I make sure that each of my classes are unique because, like I said, since I change classes every quarter, if I actually go into the menu and look at all of the classes that I've archived, they've come and gone, I have quite the list of classes. So making sure that each one is unique so that there's no conflict with the other apps, Calendar and Drive, is important. So if I go to Google Drive here and go into the folder that it makes called Classroom, it's keeping track of every class and every piece of material I've ever uploaded to all of my classes, all in one place, all organized. If I can go into a class, this is from quarter 1. Here's every post or assignment I've made. I can go into each one and see copies of all of the files that each student who was enrolled in that class had. And I can look individually into what each student wrote, commented, left notes, and so forth. And that's all from just Drive. You can also do that from in Classroom itself. So if I go into a class, one of the new things that Google released just before school started this year was this tool called Topics, which I really like because I'm a big fan of the find command in Chrome, where if you do Command or Control F, you get this little find option up here, and you can search the page for keywords. It doesn't work so well in the Classroom stream because it doesn't load the entire stream. It only loads it in chunks. If I scroll down, I preloaded this page, but they don't all, doesn't load the whole page. So as your class progresses and you get more and more posts, it's harder to locate things that are in the past that you need to refer back to because we need to access some prior knowledge. So Google came up with topics. So if a teacher tags their posts with specific topics, both the teacher and the students can click on one, and it sorts the stream and filters it by that topic keyword. So it makes it a lot easier for users to quickly locate and sort by specific posts. And it's even more important for me because I co-teach each group of students with 5th grade, I co-teach it with the guidance counselor, and 6th grade with the school resource officer. So in this case, when Ms. Gilday wants to post something to the class, she's using her own topic called guidance, which both students and myself can click on to quickly locate any post that she's added, and they can then quickly access. In this case, she wanted them to fill out this form so that she could use that data to help drive her lesson on bullying. And again, the beauty of Classroom is that it provides a vehicle through which you can communicate with students and they can communicate back. In this example of a worksheet that we did, I want to leave a comment for Isabel that talked about how I liked when she was working, we were going over this worksheet, that she was taking additional notes during the discussion, which I said, you know, that shows responsibility and taking initiative with your work. I can actually click on that link, go right into the worksheet, and see that she was down here noticing that we were noticing differences in the spelling because we were evaluating these comments. We determined, like, well, some of the spellings were because this was from a class we thought was in Great Britain, but it was in fact was in British Columbia, Canada. But that's why they were spelling favorite differently than what we might spell it here, and so forth. One of the things that Google also introduced is, and trying to provide a way for parents to have access as well, is this Guardians feature. It's under the Student tab, where you can invite parents through an email. You would tag the guardian or the parent to the student so that they could receive a weekly or daily summary of what's going on for their child in class. As with anything else that Google produces, when it comes out brand new, it always has some bugs and some glitches to work out, so it's important to give them feedback. We have chosen not to require Guardian summaries at this point because it is so new and it requires some work on the parents' end as well as our end to set up that communication. But Google's definitely moving in the right direction on that, trying to enhance and improve the communication for all the parties involved. So I see this being tweaked and improved in the near future, and it'll be really awesome when we can get to that point. The other big thing that I work with students on, not just for my class, but all, is to use what they call the work app. And for me, I see assignments to review in all of my classes, and then assignments that I've reviewed, I've graded, I've given feedback, and I can take anyone and mark it as reviewed, and it'll go into the reviewed tab. But for students, they see to do and done. And the to-do list shows basically what's on their plate. What are they responsible for? List things by assignments that have no due date, things that are coming up, and then also group assignments that are late. And of course, they can sort into specific classes. But then they also have the Done tab, and that shows them if they've been graded, what their grades are, and it also lets them know if the teacher's left them any comments. It's a great little speech bubble that's been added to it. So again, trying to promote this idea of communication is not one way, it can go both ways, and it can go back and forth. as often or as much as it needs to, so until there's everybody's comfortable with their understanding of the information.
What I like, Nick, if you don't mind me jumping in, what I like about this, and I think some teachers forget, but they can go into this section, is it quickly lets them know what they have done and what they haven't done yet. I think sometimes when you go in that stream and you just see all those assignments, sometimes people get confused of, well, have I done these yet? Have I not done these yet? I like, you're just reminding me that I should be reminding my teachers that there is that little work section that can very easily tell you what you've reviewed and not reviewed.
Yes. So, and there's a period in the day where students get shuffled around so that some students can receive extra support while other students are with other teachers. So I have students who are coming in who are not currently on my in my classes. They're from the other team. So when they come in, though, the first thing we do is we sit down and says, all right, bring up Google Classroom. Let's look in your work app. What's on your plate right now? To make them go in and evaluate, so they can start prioritizing and getting into that habit of trying to make sure they're trying to use their time efficiently based on what's listed. Can I answer? Do they have any questions that I can answer? Oh, no, maybe they need to schedule time to go meet with that teacher to clarify something. But also to see the work they've done and to kind of, take some credit for, wow, look at all the work that you've passed in this week for science, that you were busy trying to get all that stuff in on time. And you can even kind of like, well, what was that all about? I see this assignment where you were doing some kind of experiment with a soda can. What was that about? And you can get them to maybe do a little role reversal and have them teach you about what it is and to demonstrate that they have some understanding of the knowledge. For me, it gives me an idea of what's going on in other classrooms that I can't be in because I'm working with them for digital citizenship, which I like. The big thing in Classroom is that once you start getting started is this wonderful tool when you go to create something. You can make an announcement, assign, but the Repost tool, that is I don't know if it's the best tool in Classroom, but it is pretty far up there. Why reinvent the wheel if you don't have to? You can use Repost and you can access any post, whether it's an assignment or an announcement in any class, whether it's active or archived. So here's one that was back from November. And I can see every post that archived class had. I can pick one and say, I'd like to reuse this. Classroom brings everything to the front, but before I post it, I can tweak it. I can rename it, change the description, set what I want my due date to be, or not have a due date, assign it a topic. Do I need to check to see if this Google Doc is attached? Is that the correct one? I can then say, I want to send it to all of my classes at the same time. I could save it for later, or I can assign it right away. I love this idea is that I don't have to keep recreating the same assignments. I can take them and do what any teacher should be doing. You take an assignment you've done before, you bring it from the past, you move it in here to the present, but then you reevaluate it and see if there's any places where it needs to be tweaked or changed because time has passed, because you have a unique group of students now that's different from the last term, and you make those adjustments as you need to.
I have a quick question. Have any of you noticed an issue when a teacher is reposting from an archived class and they didn't set the original settings for make a copy for each student? When they go to reuse it, now they've decided they want to make a copy, it doesn't appear to be there. I ran into that with a teacher the other day, and she goes, well, I didn't know that option was there back then. So back then I just had it view, and now she wants to make it, and it wasn't there when she reused a post.
So when you reused the post, this option, this drop-down menu here wasn't available?
It was only view or edit. There was no make a copy for each student. And I thought maybe it's because when she first used it, she set it to view only. And that, right. So I didn't know if anyone else had seen that happen.
I haven't seen it because usually when you reuse a post, it takes the information and makes a copy of it, so they should be able to change any of these settings.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a fluke thing. So we just re-added her document back in, and that seemed to be fine. But I didn't know if it was something where if you don't set it, if you had it to view only and you reuse it, that the make a copy disappears. But I was hoping it was just a fluke.
I hope it's a fluke too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but I would have done exactly what you did. I would have simply removed the attachment and then re-added it from Drive.
Another little snag that I've noticed, so something that you just did, Nick, you're reusing something, you're attaching it to 3 classes, but we have a block schedule, and so we see our students every other day. And so when teachers wanted to schedule, they weren't able to do all 3 at once, because now you're pulling in 3 classes at one time, but they didn't want the thing to go out, or they're going to be absent and they don't want it to go out first thing in the morning. They want it to go out halfway through the class. So we've noticed that you can see right there, it's grayed out, that you actually can't, you can't say, 8:30 for this class, 10:30 for that class. So that was a little snag that we found out this year.
Yeah, same thing. It's like, oh, we can't have the best of both worlds. You can either push it to multiple classes, or once you turn that off, then you can schedule when you want it to be.
It's amazing. It's amazing, all of our wants, just, a year ago we couldn't schedule. So, we're just like,
oh, but now it's not. The
just want
topic.
more.
I love the topics, and when I was showing it to the teachers, one of the first things they said was, well, why can't we organize the posts within the topics? And why can't we, I want to be able to move them in the order I want them to be in. I went, we just got them. I'm so excited they're there, and they wanted to be able to move them up and down.
Oh,
and then,
rearrange them?
Yes, and then they so I did give the directions to Alice Keeler's, how you can do the #001 and #002, but and they wanted to reorder the posts within the topics, and it's exactly what you said, Craig. We just got topics. We didn't even have them. It's coming.
Just give me feedback. It'll come next.
Well, that's the key, is to come down here. This little tiny question mark sitting there all by itself, not making a lot of noise, but it's a very powerful tool, because you can tell Google Education what you want them to change or to add or to enhance, and they listen.
Yeah.
They just need enough teachers to communicate that. I've even had students send feedback based on an issue that we had come up, because from what they were seeing on their side of things. So, for example, we were noticing they were using the work app. And the same thing happens to me. So this is, okay, I'm going to go and look at this assignment. So they click on it. And where they address the assignment issue, they turn it in, they read the comment. They want to go back to the work app. They says, okay, I'll just click this back arrow.
Takes you back to the class,
It takes you back to the main class. It doesn't actually take them back to the work app. And it says, oh, well, now I have to do more clicks to get back to that tool that, Mr. Shumann, you're telling me I should really use. And I'm kind of like, it says, oh, I mean, there's a way to jump right back to work. They're like, yeah, send them feedback. So they did. Whole class did.
Yeah, that's a good point. I constantly say to them, send feedback. And they're like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, no, really, it does really help. So that's a very good point.
If you do that attitude, then how is Google going to know that they need to make a change?
Right.
Again, it comes back to communication.
+1.
I ran into one the other day where teachers had shared a video, that's awesome. Now you can put videos in there, and you can share videos by putting them to your drive. And she's like, Jen, what's going on? Every time I click on a video, it's not working. I don't get it. So we found this little trick that if you share a video in your classroom, you have to click the 3 little, more button, the menu button, to open it in a new window, and then it will play.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those funky snags that.
I had the same thing in the About section here, where I had posted some additional work that they could do. We call exceeds options. And the kids would click on, and they would get this.
Yep.
No preview. And I'm like, Mr. Shumann, I don't know what to do. And you're right. You have to look for we call them the 3 Oreos.
A more button, yeah. I didn't know it was called more until recently. I was in Google support, and I went, oh, Huh, that's what it's called, more. Okay.
We did open a new
The
window.
Right.
Yeah, and open a new window, you're right.
And that worked. So, but you know, it was unfortunate there's an extra click, but at the same time, I enjoyed that we were learning it together and kind of problem solving together. I like that I have students saying, I will tell them, I don't have all the answers, guys, and we together will see if we can figure out what a solution is or what we can do in the meantime, a patch job. And I think it's those moments that we need to value just as much as anything else.
I see you have the Guardian email summary. Did you want to, the frequently asked questions, did you want to show some stuff about the Guardian email summary?
Because I just have that up here because since it is new, it goes through what you need to do as a teacher on your side, but also what the parent would have to do on their end, specifically where they don't need a Gmail account address to use Guardian, but they need to have a Google account. And right here, you do need a Google account to receive the email summaries, but you don't need a Gmail account. So.
Yeah, as a district too, we haven't used the roster sync function yet, but it's only because with our system, 2 to 3 weeks into the school year, kids are still getting kind of bounced around depending on advisories. So it didn't make sense to take all the information from our student information system, drop it in the classroom, and then have teachers have to go in and manually move those kids around. So this year we still had, create the code, kids will enter the classroom and do it that way. So unfortunately, when you also do it that way, you don't get all of the Guardian emails pre-populated for teachers, so it would have taken a while for teachers to get that all in there.
One tool that both Craig and Terry uses over at Bedford, and then I use is GAM.
Mm-hmm.
And GAM we use, in fact, I'll be doing a training on that with Jason. And GAM will let you pre-populate. But even then, like you said, you run into, people bounce in and out. Also, some of the emails that you get aren't even the correct email addresses.
Of course.
So right now we do have it, so the teachers are using it, and I've been setting it up for some of the other districts, and we are using it. But right now we just let the teachers put it in. That way the student might be right there to give the correct email address. And I do like on the other end that the parent, what they receive is an email saying, this is the student. And it says, I'm not the guardian, so they can click and say, no, that's not my child, or they can hit accept, and then it brings them right to where they can decide what they're going to get the notifications daily, weekly, or I don't want them at all, and a little trash can. If it's nope, that's not my child, they can remove it altogether. So I do like that it gives them that note, and then has the example of exactly what they see, which is just notification of the assignments and the discussion, not the actual comments back and forth, not the grades, not the students in there, just so they can support them at home and outside the classroom of what the students are working on.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
I will say that for our staff who decided to, we gave, because it's the first year, we gave our staff the opportunity to decide if they wanted to do that or not. And those that actually put in the parent or guardian email address, they no longer have to go to their teacher website to then go in there and actually indicate what happened. So now teachers are loving it because they used to have to post here and here. And so now on the teacher website, there is a little blurb that's standard for everyone that states, I use Google Classroom, and you have been given an opportunity to join, the classroom and receive summaries. And we have a video that explains to parents how it works. And so those that decide to actually use it, they can choose to accept that email, like Jen stated. But it saves some teachers a lot of time of having to go to their website and do a double post when it's really not necessary nowadays, and put it on the parents to decide whether or not they want to receive the information or not.
Right. And you can have double guardians in there, so multiple guardians can receive the separate notifications. I will add, though, because I work with a district where they have subdomains, not subdomains, they actually have separate domains, students on one and teachers on another. And that happens a lot when we have these school administrative units with multiple districts within it. So they want students of one district not connected to teachers and staff of another in the SAU. To make sure that you've turned on the settings for guardians, both in the, even if it's just students in your other domain, the settings need to be on in both domains. And you do need to have Google Groups for Business enabled. I actually went into one and that was not enabled. You have to have that enabled or it will not work. Because the teachers, you have to be able to verify them. You know, you have to at least have that on so that you have the option to verify them. But you have to have it on in both domains for guardian access, or else you will not be able to do the guardian. Or it might show up, but I think for one, they clicked and said you're not able to because the student domain didn't have it enabled.
Right, right. And we do that too because we have a few classrooms in this school district where we co-teach with teachers in other districts. So in the Google Admin Console, we've whitelisted those districts and they've had to do the same for us. And then that way they can co-teach amongst the domains, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one thing we ran into because we, feed into multiple districts, feed into us, but I was helping one of those feeder schools. They're like, we can't seem to access our students. And that's what it was, is the SAU for all the elementaries. It was on a different domain than the students. And we're in a completely different domain and they feed into us. So we whitelisted them. But that was just one thing. But I think it's coming along with and I do like that they have the wall of security of information. So it's not, accessing other students or seeing conversations or it's just, hey, these are the assignments. This is what they'll need to do. These are and that's very helpful to me as a parent. So I know the directions of what does it mean when it says you have POW tonight, honey? What is POW? I know what I think it is. So, and that happened one time. I was like, I don't know, Mom. It turned out to be paragraph of the week. But anyway, so I think that's a really good thing that they did keep. It's very simple. You're just getting notifications on the content, that we were keeping the wall of security on, not information with the students separate.
Right.
Okay.
So what we did was,
Go ahead.
we didn't do the parent guardians. We still promoted the idea that since Classroom connects to Google Calendar automatically, that we told teachers to make sure that they take those classroom calendars and we showed them how to make them public and then to post them somewhere on their website so that parents could at least go and see what assignments that have due dates are posted, and they can click on any one of those to access additional information. So that's like our holding pattern until we feel like our guardian summaries is a little bit more, that tool is a little more robust, and that the process for getting that set up is maybe a little bit easier. So every teacher is supposed to put their calendars so it's accessible in some way for parents to access.
Nice. I will say a couple teachers were freaked out when they saw that some guardian email addresses were already in and they were thinking that students were putting them in.
Oh, yes.
And then we discovered, hey, a teacher beat you. And once someone puts it in and tags it to one kid, you're all good to go. So the people who waited towards the end had less work to do. So
gotta love those go-getters.
That's right.
Procrastinators unite.
Like that, but that was funny though, because we're like, how? Oh, right, because they're already in there. Oh, excellent. That's too funny. It just knew it was magic.
Right.
Yeah, right. Google knows everything.
Okay, Nick. Sorry, we jumped in. Go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. The calendar thing was the last thing I really wanted to bring up as a way to, again, improve that communication and share it out. So I'm using the new Google Sites, so I had to put...
I'm jealous.
Me too. I've gone into the console. We still don't have it.
Oh, really?
And I get, we get access as the trainer, but I don't have it on our domain. Jason, our last. He's like, no.
Oh, salty.
He missed the window.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
unfortunately, because it's the new one, there was more ways to embed or integrate a Google Calendar in the older sites. The new site there's not as much to choose from. So as you can see on mine, I've got a calendar posted, a widget for each of my 3 classes. I wish that in the old site you could have made it one and have them all layered
Right.
help each other. So, but hey, you try something new, then you experiment and you see what it can, then you gotta wait patiently for everything else to catch up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Nick, for sharing all updates on Classroom. And for Eric, I think now we're going to do some demo slam. So I'm going to go ahead and grab. So I'll start, and then if anyone else wants to join in after me, I'm going to grab something fun here. Let's see. Okay. So before I grab the screen, we're doing things like with YouTube Live and YouTube videos. There's lots of really cool tools out there. And I have sometimes when you're sharing YouTube videos, a lot of teachers say, it's so frustrating when I bring up a video or someone shares a video out of Classroom, and then the first thing is on the right-hand side, Kylie Jenner got a new car from Tyga. Great. And then the whole class is just completely distracted. So here's some quick little tools. Working with YouTube videos when you share them very Classroom or in a hyperdoc or in a challenge or anything like that, to kind of quiet all that noise. And then also I've had some people ask me about, Jen, how do you make some of those animated GIFs that you make? Do you have to use a certain extension? Well, there's apps, there's extensions, but there's actually tools right with YouTube that you can use. So I'm going to show a couple of things, and it would probably help if I shared my screen. Here we go. So the first one I'm going to use is with a video that was mentioned to me by someone I work with, Jason Saltmarsh, and he mentioned this great video that I should use. And what's very cool about this tool, so I'm going to just look up, let's see, let me grab screen in the background. Here we are. So if you have a YouTube video, so I'm going to grab the original YouTube video right here. Original YouTube video, and this is a great video if you have not seen. Oh, look, it's Eric and it's Nick. Oh, look at that. This is a great one on hashtags. If you haven't seen Kimmel, any of those hashtag videos online, this is a great one to watch. But a couple things you notice. First of all, I have this set in my default view is theater mode. If you go back to default, oh, here we go, all kinds of fun. Oh, great, that won't distract anybody. So theater mode does help a little bit. But there's this really quick and easy thing you can do. If you want to share a link in Classroom or else and not have all that noise, just remove everything before the Y and put the word quiet. Hit enter, and now you have a quiet, noiseless background where you can enjoy that awesome hashtag video. And by the way, hilarious video. Absolutely have to watch this one. And if you don't watch this one, there's the hashtag remix. Definitely a good watch. I laughed so hard. You can find that on, I believe, Eric, is it on your channel? I don't remember which one.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Or you can just Google hashtag video Eric Lawson and it will come up. But this one was shared to me directly by Jason Saltmarsh. You can thank Jason for that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me stop right there. So that's one little trick. The other thing you can do is if you are creating a video and you want to make an animated GIF. So right here I have all this fun noise over here, but Craig was really nice to share with me this HyperDoc challenge, which was a Chromebook challenge, and so he allowed me to take it and adapt it and so forth, but I went and made some of my own content, and so I wanted to make an animated GIF. So right here I just use Screencastify, or you can use anything at all to record your screen that will send things up to YouTube. So here I have my YouTube video, and all you have to do is right before the Y in YouTube, add the word GIF, hit enter, and you have an instant GIF creator. Now, if it does have you log in, you just click Google. You don't have to actually make a separate account. And you just pick the start time of when you want it to start, the end time of when you want your animated to GIF, or you can even come down here and be like, yeah, I want to go for like 18 seconds. This is going to be a long animated GIF. You can also add a caption.
Yes, it is.
Yes, you can even crop, and this is really good for people like me who have a million tabs open whenever I'm doing anything. I can actually crop and pull, or sometimes I've had like pictures of things I'm doing in the background. I'm like, oops, I probably shouldn't have that. So you can actually crop your video and I have not paid anything. This is completely free. A lot of these options, there are other programs out there, but for that cropping of the video and so forth, it's a paid option where this is free. There's also over here where you can change and make blur out, so it blurs a little bit and the text is more prominent in the front. But whenever you're done and you think it's absolutely gorgeous, just hit the little plus down here, or you can hit create GIF, either one. And watch the pretty colors go by. Hopefully it won't freeze because I do have so many things running in the background. And your options, once it's done creating the GIF, it'll ask you if you want to download it. There's an embedding link, there's a direct link, and you can go back and edit it afterwards. So you're not stuck, oh, this is it, and I have to start all over again. No, you can go back, and it might be freezing there because I have so much stuff open. But again, you just take your YouTube video, whatever it was, and just add the word GIF before. So let me come back here. Here's my video. Add GIF before it, but spell it correctly. There we go. Enter, and instant animated GIF editor. So those are my quick little demo slams on things to use with working with YouTube. And I will take this off, although I have to admit you have to watch the video. Stop right